People have been asking what I've been working on over the last few years, and how did the Google Search Appliance training curriculum evolve into what it is today. So what I'd like to do is take a quick pass through. This is not designed to be well formatted. You'll maybe hear some noise in the background. I've got other people working around me, but it's just designed to get this information out as quickly as possible. I've been working and developing the GSA training curriculum for 6 years. Its primary focus has been free technical training for our global partner consultants, including administrators, deployment specialists, and developers, but also includes customer training for a fee through our certified training partners and internal training for our deployment specialists and sales engineers here at Google. We've had over 3,000 course completions to date, and to begin, the GSA is an appliance. Give you an idea what the appliance is like. It's a server. Here's a picture of myself with it in hand. It's a 2-unit box, drops into a data center. It's designed to allow corporate infrastructures to search their own sensitive and private information documents, usually protected by security protocols, and run Google search experiences behind the firewall on them. The search appliance is a very technical product. Its interface for the end user is very simple. If I run a search, if I point a user to the web server on the Google Search Appliance, it will search its own index and provide search results looking very similar to Google. But the administration console and interface behind it is very complex. It has over 80 configuration pages. The primary source of the complexity is through getting content into the index from various sources, various repositories inside your enterprise, such as databases, private applications, content management systems such as SharePoint, and usually connectors are a source of this. So here's a number of connectors that have been configured: a file server, a group server to the AD administrator console to get group information in for security, and a SharePoint connector, and 2 database connectors. These usually involve security protocols. A lot of understanding is involved. So we have set up several courses in the curriculum to help with this. The principal training audience here is a deployment specialist. As consultants and developers, we principally scale our business through partners. We do not deploy the search appliance directly, usually from within Google. We usually outsource it to a partner. We have extensive businesses with our partners. We have over 500 partners. We have over 9,000 customers to date on the search appliance. And of those, there's about 100 active partners, but there's about 500 individuals that have been trained. These are usually engineers. We train these folks globally, and we give them access to a training environment. This is a search appliance inside of our data center. Let's talk about what that corporate infrastructure looks like. We believe in hands-on experience with our students. We believe that that's where they get their greatest value, is working on an appliance, and we test based on performance of the configurations. We run scripts against these search appliances and check their configurations and give them lab score grades. Completion of a course is based 50% on final quizzes and 50% on lab exercises. We do not check things like attendance in a video. We've moved a lot of our training online. We do not record or track the viewing of videos. We believe that the information will come from those videos. The students will be able to use that to pass the quizzes at the end and set up their configurations in the labs. This is what the lab environment looks like. It's maintained in our data center. We have over 130 servers in there. 60 of them are Google Search Appliances. 60 of them are Windows workstations for setting up connectors and doing development work for feeds and connectors. And then there's other servers providing security. It's an entire built-out corporate infrastructure, including VPN servers into Tunnel. So a student will come along with their laptop. They may be sitting anywhere in the world, and we run classes where principally 1/3 of our audience comes from EMEA, 1/3 comes from the APAC region, and 1/3 comes from the Americas region. The student will receive instructions to download the VPN client, install its certificates, and then connect to our VPN servers. Once inside the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. They will have proxy servers that they don't even have to be aware of the proxy servers, but this is what isolates this portion of our DMZ from the other entities inside of Google that are running trainings or running demos. There's a lot of sensitive information out in the DMZ, and for those who are not familiar with the DMZ, it's a semi-secure environment that is exposed to the public. It's outside of our internal corporate infrastructure, but it sort of sits as a barrier between the two. So we do have to apply security. We have these VPN servers set up. We have firewalls set up. Only students can get into the lab exercises if they have the VPN credentials. We go through regular SecOps reviews for our security on our servers. We have AD servers. These are Active Directory servers. We have a full Windows domain set up with multiple redundancy. These are the DNS servers for routing. This is the AD servers. The Windows workstations become part of the Active Directory domains. We have other content servers that are part of the Windows domain. You'll find that Microsoft is a very large percentage of our customers, so most of them are Microsoft shops. So being able to search content that is stored in IIS web servers and SharePoint content servers is extremely paramount. So hence the reason for a Windows domain environment set up, just like you would find normally in a corporate infrastructure. These user workstations are also used for users who want to, when end users want to run search requests, a lot of times they want to have silent authentication to the search appliance so that they don't have to enter their credentials to be able to view secure content, such as SharePoint or web servers like IIS or Apache. Sometimes they use the Windows credentials and pass those and forward those on. The search appliances here, you see, there are 60 of them. It's the second largest installation in the world of GSAs. Only one of the three-letter security agencies of the US has a larger security environment. We have file servers, MySQL database servers will be crawling, SharePoint servers, LiveLink servers, and FileNet servers. There's also Lotus Notes servers in here. We have a full-blown Domino instance. Now, how did the training evolve over time? To begin, I'll show you here. To begin, we had one 4-day hands-on ILT, instructor-led classroom training. But instructor-led has the benefit of instructor and lab exercises, but its downside is its cost. We have to travel to a site. Students have to fly into that site. We have to usually hold these regionally across EMEA, APAC, and the US. Also the downside is the amount of time that it takes to go through. And students are often sales engineers or pre-sales engineers, deployment specialists. They are working on billable hours, so their time and being able to dedicate 4 days for training plus 2 days for travel is often prohibitive. The next level of training that we use to scale to get more reach into these remote regions and also to lower costs to us and to our partners, we use Hangout sessions. This is actually one of my favorite mediums. This is where we'll have a Google instructor, our Google deployment specialist convene a meeting in a region, bring the partners into the Google office. We'll have videos, video chats, or video equipment both on my laptop and in their room. I will present to them, I will follow along with them, I will watch them do exercises, I will help them with questions, but I'm located here in Mountain View. It turned out to be, with the right application, it's turned out to be probably the biggest bang for the buck, I think. But in terms of the amount of learning and retention that goes on, that's probably the most effective. I think the students get the biggest benefit out of it. They feel like they're getting their hand held when there's an instructor, especially if they're based in another region and they're staying up at all hours for them. But where we really get the biggest bang for the buck, though, is in the blended. This is where we all the search appliances, all the user workstations are assigned out to students. We hold a class at a 1-week period. It's all online. What we do is we hold a kickoff webinar for 30 minutes, introduce them to the course, show them how to complete it, how to get scored and graded. They then have 1 week to complete 12 hours worth of work at their leisure and on their schedule. They don't have to travel. We correspond through email and chat. Sometimes I get on a live chat session with them if we really have a problem. I can go on to the GSAs because they're web-based. I can go on to their GSAs at any time and see what their configuration looks like. So this could be a student's workstation right now that I'd be looking at. The benefit of the blended is that you do have instructor assistance. You still have lab exercises, but here we also have, and we have grading and cleaning of the search appliances, but it's all done remotely. Now the self-study, complete self-study would be no instructor, no lab exercises typically. There could be lab exercises, but we would have to assign search appliances a limited resource and handle scheduling of those individual resources at ad hoc times. So students would have to make requests for them, and instructors would not necessarily be aware of all the students that are in class at one particular time. So it's this area that we find a sweet spot for us. Very low cost, lab exercises, instructor assistance, and it's remote with low cost to both us and the students. Now, how has this evolved over time? We initially had the GSA 100 course. That was 17 modules. It was 4 days ILT. Then it built a second level, very technical instructor-led course. This is the advanced course called the GSA 200, had 12 modules and ILT instructor-led for 3 days. Then we built a 300 level course for deployment specialists come in and teach them how to handle advanced scenarios. But all the technical portion has been my focus, and also setting up the deployment specialist training, but this has been my core that I have moved forward with. Now, to get this online, to get to a point where we have blended training with instructors helping, we found that we would have to we'd have to migrate these courses in pieces because it was just so much work. And we found that there were technical challenges with offering advanced lab exercises without instructor assistance at all. So we first migrated the GSA 100. We made it into a 17-hour course. It had some of the advanced modules in it. We did a restructuring in 2013 to shift this into a different set of content that was getting us prepared to go fully blended. We moved 4 of the modules into a GSA 50 course, a light course. It's all self-study. It's designed as a weeder course because we found that sometimes people would we were running at about 1/3 of the students were not completing all the lab exercises. Now, in this interim, in this process, we found that as we started introducing blended courses, we found that we were able to hit 67% completion rates. And this is, for those of you who know the industry, this is extremely high completion rates. This is way off the charts. Typically, for this kind of level of work, you would be lucky if you got maybe 10%, maybe even 20%. But we have been working on this and massaging it through a lot of testing and found just the right formula, the right mix. The GSA 50 is self-study is designed to weed out as many people as we can so that when we finally give them a search appliance and give them hands-on lab exercises, they'll at least have made some commitment. So we've found that we were able to increase our, with this we were able to increase our completion rate to even higher amounts. Now we are hitting over 70% on a consistent basis. Usually we're hitting at the 75% range. We track this month to month. We offer these courses every single month. We have about 35 students come into the 100 course and 30 complete. About 30 come into the 200 course and 25 complete. The 300 course was broken out of the 200. This is where the Hangout sessions became useful. We found that students were having difficulty completing some of the 200 labs, and they needed to actually have an instructor walk them through. So in the interim, this is what we did. Since then, we've worked to a refactor. We have made the courses more streamlined, more Microsoft Windows focused. And as we did this, we shifted modules around. We dropped modules. We added modules to the 200, and we brought the rest of that Hangout session, the lab exercises, we made them more interactive for the students without an instructor in the classroom. This may be eventually what we move to, a fully self-study model. It's yet to be determined if this is the way we really want to go, because again, stepping back to our sweet spot here, this seems to be the best of both worlds right now. Now let's talk about just before we go into showing you what the user experience looks like for students, I'd like to talk about the infrastructure and how this plays out on a class-by-class basis. Here's a list of the spreadsheet. It shows all of our servers that students get assigned. We may have up to 4 or 5 classes running globally at the same time in different regions and different time zones, led by different instructors. So what I've done is I have spreadsheets that we assign out the GSAs. We also track systems that are down, systems that need replacement as their hardware gets older. But the scheduling here is the most important thing. Notice here this is done on a month-to-month basis, or a week. This is actually done on a week-to-week basis. Now let's talk about what the user experience looks like, because what you're going to get, a student's going to go into a course now. It's going to be online. They're going to get a GSA and a user workstation to work with for a 1-week period. And how do they take this course? So here's what we call our community. It's called Google for Work Connect. Users have all partners have logins. All Googlers have logins to this. This is where a larger community-based distribution of information. It includes training. It includes releases, announcements, product updates. This is our outward-facing communication portal to our partners as well as our customers moving forward. We're in the process. I don't know what the status is on that. The partner training. I'll go in as a partner. This is what their user experience would look like. Now this is the community that I do not manage. Here's a login to the partner university. We use behind the scenes, we have an LMS system, a learning management system called SumTotal. Most of you are familiar with, in the training industry are familiar with this. It's a database for handling course distributions and scheduling. And there's a calendar system, and students can register for courses. They can be approved, denied. We can set up a learning path. Now this is custom work that we had built in our training group that allows for a simpler user interface experience. There's a track for sales representatives. There's a track for support representatives, a track for deployment specialists. I'm going to focus in on the deployment specialists. The other two are rebrandings, repackagings of a lot of the content from this course, from the core training here. There are 4 courses, the GSA 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the deployment specialist workshop. This is the fully self-study online course. And users can click on this. Now it takes you to there's a little bit of a jump here into the databasey side of the learning management system. Students will launch the course, and then at the end they can take a survey, and there's a final quiz. Okay. Now this is fully self-study, so there will be a final quiz, but there won't be lab exercises. There will be simulations, though. These will be simulations that the user can simulate working on a search appliance, but they won't actually have one behind the scenes. Here's the welcome. Here's the overview. Each module will be broken up into a video. When we have when students move over into a blended exercise, they will have a video and a lab exercise. In the self-study form, we have a video and a short knowledge-based check quiz. These questions are going to be preparatory questions for the final quiz on this. These videos are all hosted in YouTube. If I were to pop one open, this is our technical training instructor from Figleaf. He has been certified by me, trained by me. He's been on the search appliance for as long as I have. He's very experienced. We outsource we used to do our own recordings. Now we outsource all the recordings, at least at the, what we do is I build the slides, I pass on the curriculum to him. We work together to formalize the script. He'll usually take the first pass. I'll go through and make heavy edits on it, and then he'll do the recording and editing, and I will sign off on the final video. Nice thing about this being in a YouTube environment is a couple of things. One, they can go to, they can watch this on YouTube. If he watches it on YouTube, you can get full screen access. I'm going to advance around here because now they get the UI, but look at the clarity that we get with this. This is awesome. 50% of our tutorials are going to be instructor-based theory, and the other 50% is going to be demonstrations. We like to run this formula mix. We find that the faster we get into the demonstrations, the better. Usually I try to get into the demonstration within the first minute of a video so that students are not sitting there just listening to an instructor talk. Okay, now what I want to do is Actually, I haven't gone through this path before. This is the downside to presenting live. I was hoping I could go back. And it looks like that's one drawback here. So let's go back to this. Let's see, where's that new window? Here it is. Here's the course. Now, the interesting thing here is the course experience. When a student launched this course, what happened is we have a course is built using a special tool inside of Google that our training team has built. It's called Goro. It allows us to wrap our content in a SCORM package. Now, other instructors are concerned about how do I track whether a student's watched a video, how much time they spend on a video, how interactive with the video. I don't care about that. I care about did they pass the final quiz here in the case of the GSA 50. We'll take a look at what the final show you the final quiz very quickly, very briefly. This is built. The quizzes are built inside of the. We have a quiz builder tool inside of Google, but I like to put them inside of the learning management system. It's a simpler interface. You can add images, but the nice thing about this is I get to track the metrics inside for the quiz score inside the LMS, inside of SumTotal. And then when a student passes, they get certificates passed out from the LMS, and I don't have to manage that as an instructor. Now, what I'd like to do is go back, okay, to the learning path. I want to show you what the GSA 100 experience is like, or the GSA 2 experience. This used to be our old 100 course. There's the course materials, and there's a deployment intermediate lab access. So there's a lab access component. We've set up each course as 2 modules. One is the lab access, which we can schedule. This gives us the date for the course that runs on a 1-week period. It gives us a kickoff webinar, and it gives us the ability to track their lab score inside of the LMS system. When it comes time for them to join the webinar, they kick off this. And here, let's see, the course has already been handled. There would be a launch button here for launching into a WebEx session, and that would be, at the time of the kickoff webinar, they would be able to join and view and see us. Anyway, there would be a live instructor saying, hey, welcome to the course. Here's what you need to do to complete it. This is all through WebEx. And the WebEx integration is with the LMS. I don't track attendance per se of who. I used to track attendance to be able to push people through the course and get them more motivated. If they didn't attend the webinar, I would send them a link to the webinar. There would be, we still actually send out a recording, a link to the recording of the webinar, but we don't tell them we're going to do that in advance because we find that attendance is usually higher if we don't. We don't care about the number of people that attend the webinar. We just want to make sure that they understand how to complete the course. Now, when it comes time to do the course, they go to the course material. There is the final quiz here, which we will use as 50% of the grade. There's a survey that's optional. Here's the course material. They launch the SCORM package. They'll see the welcome, and this will introduce them to the course. It'll tell them how long it's going to take, how the grading is done, and here's the installation for the VPN client. But the username and password, the username's given, but the password is only given to a specific class group so that we can limit how long they can actually access the GSAs. The next thing that'll happen is they will be sent an email about, whoops. This is going to be a different email. Let's see here. I have to do a search for, hang on a second. I want to show you, where is the email? We will send out a welcome email to all the students. Sorry for the showing of my own personal email. Come on. Where is one here? It's been a while since I've sent the emails out, so I'm having to dig down in here. No, I meant, this is a little embarrassing. VPN download, here we go. At the beginning of the course, the student doesn't know which GSA they have assigned to them, they don't know which workstation to use, and they don't have the login credentials to the VPN access site. So here's the credential to the VPN site, here's their GSA assignment. with its administrator user ID and password, and a user workstation, and a second GSA for running a mirroring lab. This is their introduction, their announcement that they can now start setting up and working on the GSA in the lab environment. We track GSA usage in the spreadsheet. Here's an example of one of the courses being run in August. This is the GSA 2 course. Notice the completion rate. It's about, somewhere in the 67 to 70% range. The scores on the lab exercises are given here. And we run it on a pass-fail system for the lab exercises. Now, the lab exercises are tracked on many different points. What I do is I run a script on one of our web servers, and I can assign the GSA numbers that I want to view results for. I can get their status, or I can also get detailed status. This will tell me more information. I use this script to help me grade. There are many different checkpoints, about 7 or 8 checkpoints per GSA. They represent the 7 or 8 most important labs. We are now moving to a tool that will allow us to check on about a 30 to 40 point system. The students will also be able to go in. They'll see swim lanes of what their progress are on each of the individual exercises, whether they've completed steps 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to be a much more robust tool. I want you to see what this output's going to look like first. So the script can take a while. That is true. Usually I'll run it on smaller sets of GSAs. Here's an example. This is an ongoing course right now. Here's some URL patterns that have been set up. These are the hosts, the number of connections out to other content systems. These are filters on the index. These are front-end user interfaces, one-box modules, fees, crawling. All this stuff these are all the checkpoints here. And green represents a fresh instance of the GSA that's been cleaned. It doesn't show any work that's being done. The yellow shows work that's being done. So an instructor can come through here and say, well, I recognize the patterns for these values, and each of these values now gives me a determination as to what their score should be. Have they completed 100% of the labs or not? Once done, an instructor can go into the learning management system, check the class. Here's the class roster. Here are the grades that are assigned. Now, what I'll do is I'll go in and manually insert the score for their lab score. The quiz score will be automatically tracked. In the future, here is the tool, the GSA validator tool for course GSA 100 and 200. The user will enter in their full name, their email address, and their GSA number, the GSA's administrator and password, so that they can validate it. They can run the validator. I don't think it's actually going to do anything. I'll just try it and see what happens. Okay, yeah. So they'll be checking here. There'll be lots of different, 30 different checkpoints. Students can see their progress right away. They can log into this tool. There'll be an administrator side to this, so that the instructor can come in and run validation across multiple GSAs at one time. The scores will be automatically sent out to the LMS system using API calls. So that's in a nutshell. The last thing I want to show you is the GSA YouTube channel. So there is a YouTube channel that contains all the videos for the GSA 1 course, the GSA 2 course, the GSA 3 course. These are the 3 technical courses that form our curriculum. They are on separate playlists. The channel I'll show you here's the metrics for the channel as an administrator. So you can see there are 494 subscribers to this channel. There's been over 48,000 views. There's 28 total videos recorded. And that's our way of being able to make this publicly available. We also have I've been focusing on deployment for partners. We also teach for customers. We do this by I've set up contracts with our training partners inside of the U.S. There's 2 in the U.S., 1 in South America, teaches in Spanish and Portuguese. One of the partners in the U.S. is trained to go over to the EMEA region and train there. We also have an EMEA customer-facing training instructor. She speaks in Italian and in French. So we offer a global experience when needed for our customers. This is for a fee. And the instructors for the different companies have to email me. This goes back to our tracking system, where the spreadsheet before I show you, this is an example of different partners offering different classes, and the GSAs have been assigned. So there may be there may be overlapping conflicts if we don't run the scheduling properly. The customer-facing experience, the customers can come in and view these videos. Anybody can actually view these videos. All you have to do is go into YouTube, run a search for search appliance training or Google search appliance training. Here's the channel. You can get the access to the videos. You can do viewing of them as you want. Some good ones to look at for very technical information might be front-end customization, which involves work with our XSLT style sheet. And there is also an advanced Windows environment. This might be a little bit too technical for you. Just trying to think for some development. Here's write a one-box module, write a feed, and we will be having a module added very soon. It's called writing a connector. That's with our students will go on to, I wanted to show you what the, I know what else I wanted to show you. I also wanted to show you what the, when a student gets a workstation and a GSA, you saw how they can access the GSA. They just point their web browser to it, right? And they can go to the search page on the search appliance. When they need to get to the user workstations, they do remote desktop sessions. Now let's take a look at what a user workstation will look like. When a student is doing the most advanced and the final lab of the GSA 3 course, they'll be doing Java development for our connector. We have an Eclipse IDE environment set up, and they'll be writing connectors based in Java code based on a Spring framework. If you're familiar with Java development, you'll know what that is. And it looks like somebody's been working on this one a little bit. So it's the Hello World connector. Let's see, here we go. It's been a little while since I've had to pick up where a student left off. Anyway, you get the idea. And so that's it. I just wanted to show you all the courses that we've been building, why I've been using the logic I have to extend them and scale them to online training, and how that's been done with a very successful rate. We found this is our sweet spot for blended, low-cost, instructor-led lab exercises. We base our grading on 50% performance of lab exercises and 50% on the final quiz, so that we feel that students not only know what they've learned the new material, they've retained the new material, they can do the new material. So hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, send me an email at jrambo@google.com.